I'm in my fifth year of being an engineer. I enjoy my job. I'm good at my job. I like what I do, right? But I don't love my job. I believe that you work to live, you don't live to work. Well, today I want to go over some horror stories in Reddit, stories that I can kind of relate to, stories that if you are in the field or you're interested in the field, I think you're going to find this very amusing, but also very realistic. All right, let's get into it. Here's the first one. More of a work horror story. Startup wanted me to full stack plus DBA plus project manager plus testing plus GUI designer plus scrum master. Needless to say, didn't work. I left them ASAP. Oh boy. This is pretty much any startup, yes, but almost any company that you work at. The more you do for them, the more that in theory they should give to you. If you want to get promoted, if you really want to show them you're at that next level, this is kind of what you have to do. Pretty much every company needs somebody like this, somebody who's willing to go all in and wear all of the caps that they need to, right? Multiple caps, they say. If this is you, my respects to you because we need you. If this is not you, then you probably understand that you get paid a salary to do the job that you were hired to do. You are only responsible for this work. There is some overlap, right? If you're a full stack engineer, you probably also want to be doing some testing. So there is some overlap here. There is. You might have a QE who is fully responsible for making sure that your team has 80-90% of test coverage. They might make sure that your team has adequate end-to-end tests, whereas you as the developer, it's kind of your role to develop. We're code monkeys. A lot of us are code monkeys. If that's your job, then that's your job. Let's back up a little bit. You are a salaried employee getting paid to do the job that you were hired to do. Any more that you do is completely up to you, and you know what? It'll probably fare pretty well when you go for that promotion. But at the end of the day, if you're there to work so that you could then go out and live the life that you want to live, well, you don't have to stay late to do 10 other people's jobs. It's up to you. It really is. All right, next one. Long time ago, in my first year as a software engineer, I had a team lead who would throw his weight around just for the heck of it. I once asked him for a couple of days off to go to a wedding of a family member. This was during a slow period and there were no big prod deployments coming up. However, his first question was, can it be postponed? I'm like, it is someone else's wedding. Oh no. I hear a lot of stories like this from people outside of the tech industry. The people in tech that I know, well, in general, tech itself is very flexible. There are some companies that have unlimited PTO. Unlimited PTO usually only benefits the company. That's why they do it. But okay, let's focus. When I was in retail, I used to hear this a lot. This kind of happened to me too, where you ask for a day off for a big special event of a family member, for a friend, and guess what? Your manager says that no, it's not possible, that they need you, that they'll see you that day. If that's the case, if this is not your full-time career, I think it's better to just call it quits right then and there. So he ends up giving me just one day just because he could do that. I didn't even have anything to do the other day that I was forced to come into work. First year as an engineer. So this is more susceptible to happen once you're a new grad or once you're new to the company. You kind of have to stick it out. Yes, you might get 20 PTO days, or you might even get unlimited PTO days. But there's a realistic number and an expectation that they'll have of you, that they'll try to set on you, especially in your first year, maybe in your first few years. You're kind of expected to go under that limit and to really give yourself to the company. It's just an expectation. Is it fair? Maybe. It really depends on what you're going for. If you're in it for the long haul, pues maybe it's what you gotta do. I don't know. In this case, his manager only gave him one day of PTO, and then the other day that he requested off, he was just in work. And this post is from 6 years ago, so this was pre-COVID days. He probably had to go into the office just so that his manager could physically see him and make sure that he went into the office. This is so rough. Next one. I once came into work one day and the code I had written and was working the day before was inexplicably no longer working. Turns out that the CEO of the company didn't like the name I had given to a new field in a database table and changed the name. without telling anyone. Wow. Well, hey, props to the CEO for having some knowledge of the code base or the database. I wonder if you had to do a retro on it. Imagine. I deleted the entire patient's table with a cascade delete without putting a where clause on it. In production. Fortunately, I started it with began trans with no commit and was able to roll back, but the application was unusable for 3 hours. Oh, we've all been there. We've all deleted prod databases, we've all dropped tables, we've all deleted a bunch of data that we weren't supposed to. This was my first ever SEV. This was my second year as an engineer. This is going to take days to fix. Thankfully, we did roll back. It probably took a few hours to get the code working again, but this situation is way too common. This is a canon event for every engineer. If you haven't done this yet, your day will come. I guarantee it. Turned for a startup where the CEO was also the CTO, left work on Friday with fully functioning code, came back on Monday to a full code change. Okay. The repo I was working on had been deleted and a new repo with new code had been made. I was required to start working on the new repo and try to integrate it with the existing dashboard. Okay, so I think the bridge here is that the CEO/CTO fully changed the code base. Man, where are all of these developers, CEOs, and CTOs? If that's you, then shout out to you, honestly. But if this is you, if you are changing the entire code base and then forcing people to work off of your new branch or just your new repo, oh man, don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy. If you're that guy, don't be that guy. Please just do not be that guy. I've never been in this situation, but this would be very frustrating. All of a sudden you have to set up the development environment. You have to figure out how this thing works. You have to make sure that you have all the environment variables when your existing setup was already working. Oh man, God, you just reminded me that sometimes my boss at my old job would take a weekend to rewrite a good chunk of the code base without testing or telling anyone. Without testing, that one is even worse. No, without testing, I think that's common enough. If you're not testing your code before you push it, you're probably a staff engineer, and I am so jealous of you because you're probably making $500,000. Shout out to you. Companies with less than 10 years. I think this is kind of common. You got to move quickly. I kind of get it. I don't necessarily fault developers. You got to meet timelines. But if you're not telling anyone, that's when it's more of an issue. You should at least tell the other developers you're working on it with that, hey, I didn't test this. Let me know if you run into any issues. And then you should be owning any changes or fixes that you should be doing. And then you should be owning any fixes or updates that you need to do. Do not break things without fixing them. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Lessons I learned from my tech layoff. Layoffs are sudden. I came into the office with no access issues in the morning. I helped a coworker with a project. My boss messaged me to please come into my office. The rest is history. Office politics matter. I worked with my door closed and did not make friends. It was a mistake. Having savings is so important. I am technically financially independent. I can take my time to think about what I want to do next instead of applying to jobs to pay my bills. I need an identity beyond my job. I did not know who I was after I got laid off. I looked at myself in the mirror and I could not introduce myself to me. I regret caring so much about shareholder value. I hope 2025 is a better job market for everyone. This post is actually really sad. Our company had a big layoff. I was not impacted, but I have a few close friends that were impacted, and it was really sad. It was really sad. One of them was the best engineer that I met, somebody that I learned a lot from, and now he's at a better company, making more money. I'm very happy for him. There are other people that I know who took a very long time to get back on their feet, who actually struggled a lot. Things don't always work out for everybody. That's life. That's how it is. I think that this is a good place to end this video, but I do want to touch on having an identity beyond your job. Your job, your pay, your title does not determine the value that you have. Your value is completely independent of what value you provide to shareholders. This is maybe it's a part of how you value yourself and it's a value of how you see yourself. But at the end of the day, the relationships that you have with the people that you love, what you are able to do for the people that you love, how you show your love to them, how you provide for them, how you take care of them, how you tell them that you love them. In my eyes, that's what truly determines the value that you have. At the end of life, when you're on your deathbed, what's going to matter? It's going to be the shareholders. None of them are going to be at your bedside. It's going to be your family, your parents, your brother, your sister, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids. Treat those people with all the love and respect that they deserve. Treat yourself with all the love and respect that you deserve. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I will have a new video next week. I make videos every week. Please do all the YouTube stuff if you enjoyed what I had to say. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. I hope that you have a great week. I hope that your family is safe and well. And that's it for this video. Bye.